Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Industry Cooking Classes. I am putting on a Between Two Stoves interview here in Sacramento with Deanya and Sal Potratz, and they are running MudPieStand. And I wanted to kind of talk about what that is and how they're working it out during COVID, okay? So I'm gonna bring them in for a little bit to talk about that, and maybe to talk about a little bit about bacon and stuff like that. I don't know much about baking, so little about it. So I wanted to kind of pick her brain about it because she is a fabulous, fabulous pastry chef that I've known for many, many years. So before we get into that, I want to mention that you can catch videos just like this one and many more on my Industry Cooking Classes channel over on YouTube. Please check it out. I've got lots and lots of interviews with local Sacramento region food people, and it's a lot of fun, you know, and I kind of like to see how people are doing during COVID. Go on over there again to Industry Cooking Classes channel. You can check all that stuff out. So for now, I wanted to bring in my friends Deanya and Sal to talk about MudPieStand. And I should just say that I worked for many, many years with Deanya at the Cordon Bleu School in Sacramento. She was a culinary teacher, and I'm hoping she might lay down a few little culinary principles for us today. So I was going to pick her brain about that, but first I wanted to ask her about MudPieStand. And my first big question about it is, for those listeners who don't know, what is a mud pie?
Right? That's a great question. I think a mud pie is traditionally a coffee, chocolate, whipped cream pie. But I actually got it because my mother told me to make a mud pie when I was a child, like 5, a real mud pie from mud. And I think it was so she could keep me busy. She told me to make it perfect. And if I did it well, then the next day there would be a cake. The sun and everything would bake a cake. And so the next day I woke up and there was a cake. And so my mom has passed, so it's kind of in honor of this memory of the mud pie that turned into a cake.
Not an actual cake because you made a mud pie the day before. That's awesome. I remember tricking me like that as a little kid too. It's kind of okay, isn't it? When you look back. Yeah.
Not that way to have your kids spend time.
So, so you're not just any bakery. I mean, first of all, you're not doing traditional baked goods, are you? Can you kind of talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, so we're all vegan. So one of the things when we first got going, we were doing traditional baking and vegan. And my personal journey has put me back on a vegan path. And the community, honestly, has been so welcoming, and that's really kind of led us down that path to go all vegan, and just that's what we're doing. Full steam ahead.
Gosh, I don't even want to tell you what class I was doing in my kitchen 2 weeks ago, but we won't get into that. I just got to say, it's funny, you know, back when I knew you at the school, I didn't realize you were a vegan before.
Yeah. I didn't really talk about it much because I try to keep, you know, I wanted to keep my palate open and just that experience for what we were doing at that time. So.
Yeah, and there was a lot going on working at a culinary school, right? There's so much happening. So,
right. And there was a lot that we had to cover at that time.
And it's a lot of cream and butter and eggs and milk, right? And so, yeah, to teach the basics, it's kind of hard to, you can't really teach the basics of culinary without, you know, if you're just teaching vegan. You have to.
Right.
Well, I didn't know you just kind of got out of veganism for a little while and then went back into it.
Yeah, it was, yes, that's basically what happened. To be honest, it was my fault.
It was your fault. So are you, Sal, let's bring you into this. So what's, are you a vegan and what's your thing?
I'm vegan now, but I wasn't before. But I'm now more plant-based, I would say. And when I took her to Hawaii to propose, I was like, you have to try the fish here. There's nowhere else, you know, it's just the best, you know, place for it.
Oh.
And she kind of brought me into her world. I pulled her into mine, and just, you know, a little back and forth. And, you know, I don't know if you've seen the documentary Game Changers on
I have not.
It's really good.
I don't get out much. I don't get out much.
Yeah. I think, I think the thing is for me too, when I first was vegan, I was junk food vegan. I ate a lot of processed stuff. So now I'm, huh?
Interesting. I think that's a super good point. Please continue.
Yeah. So I just, and then I kind of just was trying to eat healthier, which included whatever I felt like I wanted to eat. And then really came back to more whole plant-based eating, just not processed foods. So I don't.
Oh, I'm sorry. I was going to say, it's just so important that people eat so much processed foods thinking they're eating natural, organic, right? And it's like you gotta stay out of the center of the supermarket and shop the perimeter. I always used to say, right? Shop the meat. Well, maybe not for the vegans, right? But the dairy, produce section, right? All of the real foods are out on the outside, and there are a lot of organic products that say Nature's Valley and all of this stuff. It's greenwashing. It's processed food that they're slapping an organic label on and public. So be aware, guys. Look for products that just have 1 to 2, maybe 3 ingredients in it, right? I think Sal, if I may, you worked at Whole Foods Market, did you not?
Yeah, I did.
Didn't they have an ethos about like no more than 5 ingredients on a label? I believe it was, right?
I mean, depending on what it is, but there's a certain list that you can't have in the product. No artificial, no trans fats, like
totally. Yeah.
Into the store,
I should say, another disclosure, I worked at a Whole Foods Market too. I was the opening chef at the Whole Foods Market in Sacramento here.
I remember that.
So yeah, we've talked about that stuff before. Yeah. It's a different world, Whole Foods. Are you still involved with them?
No, it's been a few years.
That's what I thought. Yeah, that's what I thought. Okay. So let's see. So it's not a regular bakery where people can, MudPieStand, it's not a regular bakery where people can come and grab stuff, right? How does MudPieStand work?
So initially we were going to do all events, but with COVID, we had to basically go to online because we are a certified home kitchen. So we don't have a storefront. So right now we sell online, and we do deliveries within 10 miles. And we have a super awesome 71 Vita bus that is where people get to come and they pick it up. We have it all set up so they can just basically roll up, go to the back of our bus and get their order. And it's just orders.
So basically people can, how do they order again?
They just go online to our website. We have a store online. And they can select if they want to pick it up or if they want it delivered, if they're close enough.
Well, I gotta say, looking at your stuff, what I love about it is it's just got this look to it that I love. I guess you could say I have a style. I'm not, a complete newbie at baking, right? I have had many, many jobs in the past where I was baking, and the stuff I baked was like big and chunky, and I always said like hippie-dippy style, that kind of stuff. And when I see your stuff, it reminds me of the stuff I love. It's just, guys, it's just this big chunky stuff, and I just love the style of it, and that's what kind of struck me about it. Would it be weird if I brought up an Instagram page on my little fake TV show?
No.
Here? Let me do a little thing here and see if I can bring it up. And can you guys see MudPieStand there?
Yep, we can.
And so I'm going to cruise on down and just kind of zoom in on a couple of pictures. Now, can you tell me about this guy right here?
That's just a rustic mixed berry pie, basically. We don't use a lot of sugar, actually. We kind of minimize it so that we use it to accent things. So this is basically mixed berries, a little bit of unrefined sugar, and then a flaky pie crust, but made with vegan butter instead.
And also, what I like about this one is it's just a little guy, isn't it?
Yep, it's only 5 inches.
Sure, I love that. Yeah. So natural and chunky looking. I love it. Another one. That's some poor lady, and she's got her mouth open. I didn't mean to do that. Fines, but you guys were on Good Day Sacramento, I should mention. And gosh, where are pictures of your stuff?
I know, right? Now it's going all to my other post.
Okay, what's this little guy here? I've seen you post this guy.
So it's a vegan Rice Krispie, basically. So we use vegan marshmallows. We don't make them, actually. basically we make them very similar to traditionally, just with vegan marshmallows, vegan butter, and we use actually puffed rice, not puffed rice, sprouted rice, and natural sprinkles.
So it's actually got some nutrient content to it.
Yeah.
Okay.
It has brown rice, natural sprinkles. There's some beet juice in there somewhere.
Yeah, the natural sprinkles, you can even have that for breakfast, huh? Not just breakfast anymore. This is the stuff I love. I love the look at these guys, the topping. Can you tell me about the guy in the lower left there? What's that?
That's actually, that's our mud pie cupcake. So we have a chocolate base, espresso frosting, toasted marshmallows, and a ganache drizzle.
I'm going to be asking you kind of like what's behind some of this stuff a little bit later on, and some of the techniques and things like that, if you don't mind. So, but yeah, just beautiful stuff. What about this guy across the way from it, just diagonal from it up top? Let me bring him down. What's on top of that?
That's just a cookies and cream. We just dip it in ganache just to give it a little extra oomph.
A cookies and cream, huh? So like an Oreo or something? Like your own Oreo?
Well, it's Newman's. It's a Newman's.
Oh, gotcha. Okay, cool. Gotcha.
So we do use as much natural, there's less processed products as we can.
I see. But just little garnishes on top. They look cool.
Yeah, thanks.
Around, you're doing cakes too. Are you guys set up to do any kind of a wedding cake at all?
Not just yet.
Okay, because that's a whole different thing. Yeah.
It is, because it's just the space to stack cakes and things like that. It's a little different. Yeah.
Yeah, you need square footage and some space to stack vertically, I guess.
Yeah. Well, we started doing small cakes because nobody could celebrate with friends and family during COVID. So we started making cakes so people could have at their house.
That's so sad. You're going to get me.
I know.
I'm all sensitive now. I'm talking about it.
It's the quarantine cakes. Yeah.
But like I said, look at these pictures. Let's kind of cruise through. I love how chunky and cool that looks. It's beautiful, a very stone, right? I love that. Some more, just the bright, vibrant colors. Look at the textural qualities going on back there. You've got a little crumble on top, right? It's beautiful. I love it, guys. And so that's why I wanted to have you guys on, okay? Let's pull back. Let's go back to the regular old view there and kind of bring you guys back into it. And I'm going through my notes because, before I do these things, I do a little bit of research, because that's what good interviewers do, right? And I'll write down these questions, and I'm like going along, and I got to make sure that I cross off what I ask you, okay? And so that's kind of what I'm doing.
I like the list. Hey, I'm a list person.
And yeah. So let's kind of talk about, occasionally or someday I may go back to teaching, school and all. And so I like to kind of talk about how people, I turned my stove on, how people kind of start a little business like this, right? What was that like, kind of getting this started? You didn't start after COVID, did you?
I didn't. So we actually got certified, the kitchen. So when you get your house certified, they do have to come out and actually inspect your home. So it took about a month to get that actually appointment for them to come out. So they came out in November is when we actually passed and officially got our certification. But we already had our business license, which you have to have before all of this happens.
So this is all, it sounds like it's all part of this new cottage food industry that was kind of busting out about a year before all of this COVID started, right?
Right.
I imagine that it is pretty tough to get an inspector into your house to clear it, just because of the sheer volume of people that are just trying to bust out businesses even before COVID, right? And now they're going out there and doing it. I think very few people that are in business and people now guys do. And so did you go through that like during COVID, or did you get it done like right before? Is that what you said?
Sorry, you cut out for just a minute, but did you say, did we get the license before COVID?
Yeah. Okay.
We did, like just before we got all of our licensing. So we were just going to start working.
Yeah, start going into it. And what you're doing now, is it pretty much what you already had envisioned, or did you kind of make adjustments because of COVID?
We've made adjustments because we wanted to do events. We plan to do large events and use our bus to take out there and, you know, sell out of that. And so, yeah, we weren't actually planning to do pickups or deliveries from our home. That was just something we had to do if we were going to make it. So.
You've mentioned this van a couple of times. Do you think you guys could show it to us?
Yep, sure. We'll walk you over.
Show us the baby.
All right.
I got some people out there watching. I got Alex out there and Jeff. Kathy's out there. Kathy, we know you from Taylor's. I gave you a little shout out on the last show.
All right, there's that beauty.
Oh my gosh, look at that. It's beautiful. I just love the classics.
That's where you pick up of your stuff in a cooler or just out. Yeah, 1971.
Very cool.
Thank you, Dad, for investing in us.
Well, I gotta say,
Yeah, I mean, it's all camper.
what year is it?
1971.
And it runs?
It runs. Yeah, but
Like a top? Look
yeah,
at,
I took it up.
wow, that's beautiful.
Although DMV has been so backed up that I haven't been able to register it. Still waiting. So I'm just like, I sit in the driveway and start it and just like rev it. Kind of sad.
Hang out in the sun.
Yeah.
But I gotta say, you know, for people that are looking for your house, you can definitely find it. It's a good, it's like having a big neon sign out in front. So, and
for sure.
It was a very creative, great idea. You know, having that to go to events, I can see where that would have been just.
It draws people in, and then they're like, "Oh, what are you selling? Oh, this is great."
Yeah.
You know, and that's what I do the deliveries in, because it has AC.
Wow. Very cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's have another sip. I'm gonna have another sip of my white wine here, and you guys have yours, Deanya. Yeah, you look very chill.
You know what? You were saying, how do you get through COVID?
Right there. You gotta have something to get through. I think, yeah, food and wine has been getting me through. I'm not a huge beer guy. Every once in a while, I like ciders, things like that. Love a cider. But yeah, a lot of wine these days. Mr. Jim Turknett is out there. Awesome. Good to see you, buddy. Sacramento Institution. I should give Jim a little call. Maybe we could interview Jim sometime. Jim Turknett, if anybody is familiar with, he's been working in Sacramento. He's a working chef, probably one of the longest working chef, if not the longest working chef in Sacramento. Still kind of in charge of a kitchen as far as I know. So hey, maybe we'll bring him on sometime. Hey Jim, thanks for watching, buddy. So anyway, back to Deanya and Sal. So I was going to kind of ask about home delivery. It's been genius. It's all right there. As far as like getting the business started, Deanya, did you have a lot of the equipment as far, you know, not so much the delivery equipment, but the baking equipment and all of that stuff? Did you have to do a big investment in that stuff?
You know, we were actually pretty fortunate. I did have some of the stuff. You know, we got the table from Le Cordon Bleu, a parting gift, which has been helpful. But no, we had to buy like a new fridge, and we are going to have to invest in a freezer, but not too much. We were pretty fortunate. Probably just the business license, all that was the most expensive thing for us.
So
now
like
we're busy. But now we're getting, so we need bigger, more equipment.
Yeah. Yeah. It's always the refrigeration. I think I heard you mention that.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. We need freezers and refrigerator.
So,
we're looking. We are looking.
I'm sure there's equipment out there. Unfortunately, there's probably a lot.
We're trying to find. I know it's hard though.
Yeah. Okay. Let's get happy again. I don't want to get bummed out. Cheers, guys.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe we should shift gears. This is a good place to shift gears. For those of you that are watching, Ms. Deanya is a culinary instructor that I worked with many years ago. And I got to say, you know, I know some basic baking. I can kind of do your standard baking with eggs and cream and butter and all of that stuff. And Deanya, you're this vegan baker. I would like you to kind of just kind of answer a few questions for me, because I literally know zero about this stuff. Would that be okay?
Yeah, let's try. Let's see if I got some.
So like, to understand baking, you know, I always think about ingredients, right? It's like 5 ingredients to maybe 6 if you count chocolate. Would you agree? I mean, if you understand how to manipulate these 5 or 6
Pretty
ingredients,
much.
you can do everything in a bake shop. Everything else is little amounts, right? You know, flavors.
Sure.
You know, if we're getting rid of some of those ingredients, the animal products we use, butter, cream, and milk, cream slash milk, I usually say, and eggs. I mean, so those are the big 3 right there. So I wanted to kind of ask you some of the basics about that. Like, if I'm a vegan, if I want to get into vegan baking, what is a good substitute for eggs?
That's the hardest one, because honestly,
with another.
No, but it's okay though, because the other ones are easy.
All right, let's do it. Hey, you're right. I should have gone backwards.
Eggs are they're hard because it depends on what you're baking. If you're baking a cake versus, you know, doing like a, I don't know, let's try to think here, like
foaming versus
like a cookie versus a cake.
Yeah,
actually, 2 different egg substitutes work better. I like to use applesauce in cakes, things like that, and oils. I don't actually use any. I just use applesauce as the supplement, which is kind of like you would use it sometimes with eggs anyway for more moisture.
Yeah.
You can also just use it as an egg replacement. And then cookies, I like flax.
Oh, so I've kind of looked into the flax. So how does the flax work? Can you kind of talk about that?
Yeah, so it has to be ground really fine.
Do you have to grind it yourself, or?
You shouldn't have to, but not all brands have it really fine. So the finer, the better. And you soak it in water essentially, and it becomes jelly. It becomes like a gelling agent. You can see it's like albumin almost, you know, that kind of gooey quality, or the egg whites and that stickiness.
So you mentioned albumin. I mean, what if you are doing like a foaming application, like a meringue type situation, for those of you that, you know, that don't, you know what I'm talking about here, right? What could you use to get that sort of a thing? I started with eggs. I should have finished with eggs.
Well, I actually don't do too much work with that, but really the answer is the chickpea water. Aquafaba is all the rage. I just don't work with it because I don't have an excess of chickpea water always hanging out, and I'm trying to figure that one out.
It's like you got to find it on the bootleg market, the black market.
I haven't got that out yet because I'm like, I can't eat that many chickpeas.
Yeah, we don't make that much hummus here.
All the chickpea water. Can you kind of explain, you know, for those of us that are neophytes to this concept here, can you kind of explain a little more about what chickpea water and meringues and things, how that kind of ties in? Could you talk about that?
Yeah, so apparently chickpea water, it's just the way that it's the starch, isn't it, that allows it to basically foam up into a meringue like consistency that will hold. So you can make a macaron with it and it will be vegan. It looks exactly like a macaron. So I don't make it for work, but you could do these things.
But yeah, okay, I'm gonna get some garbanzo water if I can find some.
That's kind of a fairly new thing too. I feel like it's only been around about a couple years, so.
But if you can get a fine enough, you know, a fine enough and stiff enough macaron meringue to make a macaron, I'm very impressed. And I wonder if they dry them out in the oven or whatever. See, I love these conversations about this technique stuff, man.
Baking's cool. I mean, all of it's cool.
Sal, you never worked with you ever work with any of this garbanzo?
No.
To make some hummus.
Aquafaba is what we call it, right? Yeah. Okay. Let's see. Well, let's talk about milk and cream and things like that. What kind of any substitutions there? Like cream, I wanted to ask. Like again, like holding air. How do you make like substitute a whipped cream like effect? Because I see kind of a buttercream kind of a look on your cupcakes. What are we looking at there?
Well, that's just actually vegan butter, but actual cream, like whipping cream, we can't do because of it being a home kitchen. We do have some restrictions about what we're permitted to produce. So we don't actually do anything like that, but they have actually soy whipped creams now. It would be something I would just have to purchase. I don't actually make that cream. I use vegan butter to make my buttercreams though.
And it holds air. It really fluffs up. It looks fluffy. Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice.
I mean, well, you still have to treat it right, you know, and it's the right amount of powdered sugar. It's the right amount of liquid. So all those things are still important.
Can you over mix it and things like that?
Yeah. To buttercream, if you if the milk and the fat solids start to separate, same thing can happen. Okay. It's just different.
Because again, I look at your stuff and it blows me away, and I'm like, how does she make that? What's that? You know, I'm looking at it, right? And it's vegan. It's not the stuff that I'm used to playing with. Yeah,
it's been fun actually. I find it was challenging, but now it's kind of fun. I like kind of like now we're working on a s'mores recipe, and just it's fun to kind of press those boundaries with something that I've known so well to, explore.
Yeah.
It's neat.
And all of this research you're calling on, I mean, like, what do you do with who eats all of that stuff?
Actually, our other person, well, it's
our stepson, or my stepson, her son.
Well, be my son, but also my our other partner who does. She's not been able to do as much as she can because she's injured, but Maria, so she actually helps
with the big spoon that you showed earlier with the mouth open.
She has her family, she takes it.
That's what I eat too, guys. As soon as we're done, I'm sitting on the couch and just shoveling something in my mouth. Yeah,
that's pretty much my ice cream.
Yeah, Kim Jensen says hi. Good to see your face.
Hi. Nice to hear your voice. Are your okay?
Adrian Day Murchison is out there as well. Ms. Adrian's out there. Good to see you, girl. Awesome. Some of our old colleagues, if you will. Let's see who else.
Sad. So much fun.
There are all kinds of fancy people out here. Are you kidding me? That's just crazy. Wow. People are watching stuff. It blows my mind every time. I'm just a knucklehead with a big mouth in my kitchen here, and I'm doing it. And people are agreeing to talk to me. Thanks so much, guys. I have to.
For having us.
Yeah, thanks, Susan.
For showing up. Awesome. Okay, so what about, like, what are some of the fats you use in vegan baking, right? You mentioned that vegan butter. Is it like tofu based?
No, it has, this one is like canola. I think it has canola, palm, and like flax. So it's just different oils. It's oil based.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah.
Do you use things like coconut butters and what about like the nut butters I'm always hearing about, like cashew butters and stuff? Are you working with that?
I don't do much with nut butters. That's a more healthy. I sort of like when I get more breakfast items, I'll probably use nut butters a little bit more. But I do use almond milk sometimes, but not even that much anymore.
I got to say that breakfast bakery idea, the selling things for little continental breakfasts and things. Hey, or something.
Oh, I have in the works.
Yeah. I love breakfast. So every time somebody says something about breakfast, I'm just like, you should follow that.
Just wait. I'm working on something big.
Let's see. So, okay. You mentioned you use refined sugar. Is that correct for most of your applications? So why is white sugar considered a bad thing for vegan purposes? Why do you typically not see that?
White sugar usually isn't used because bone char is often used to process it. Which vegans
what?
Bone char. Bone char is often used to make the sugar white, and vegans, that doesn't jive with them.
I wouldn't think so.
No. I also prefer the flavor of unrefined sugar. It just has more of its natural quality, the more molasses quality to it. I don't even use brown sugar. I just use unrefined sugar. And I can add molasses if I want to get a more brown sugar quality, but that's it.
Huh. And I also had another question about another sweetener, right? Because I'm going through all the different ingredients of baking, right? And so we got to substitute sugar, and sometimes you might use honey, but vegans don't like to use honey, right? So what's the deal with honey? Why don't vegans appreciate honey?
Okay, that's a very debated issue.
issue. And if I may say, this is something my dad heard about this issue, and he would just say it about he would talk about it for years. Yeah. So go ahead and explain the issue.
And I do know, and it's a hot topic, but the idea is really vegans try to cause no harm that can be avoided through eating, and so to them, gassing bees is just not natural and it's cruel, and they just don't want to be a part of it.
Yeah. So I got this from a friend of mine. Okay, Mo. She was a yogi for a while. Okay, now she's a nurse, and she had told me about this, and so I explained it to my father, and he just could not get over this. And the way I said it was, well, they're mean to the bee. Okay, and 4 years he's never met my friend Mo, but he would ask me, so how's your friend Mo? Is she still worried about them being mean to the bees?
I know it's
to the bees, right? We need to be nice.
I mean, no, it's a tough one. I understand, but I also feel sorry for everything. I'll cry over everything. So even
I'm such a big softie. Don't even get me started. You're doing it again.
I'm just saying.
Yeah. But, hey, that's why we're doing this, to make people happy, right? Get people out of their zone a little bit. I see Scott Rice is out there saying hello.
I didn't hear that. What was that?
Scott Rice is also saying hello.
Hi, Scott.
Whoop, we got some celebrities out there. Yeah. Patrick's out there. Sophia's out there. This is awesome. Thanks for.
I had more time to learn from them, man.
Yeah. Gentlemen, if you don't know, we were part of a very awesome crew out there at that culinary school that we were in Thomas. I don't like to mention names, okay? But especially so, we were especially blessed in the pastry department over there. We had some unbelievable instructors out there that I still know nowadays, and which, by the way, you may have seen one of our friends, Carissa Jones, Teacher of the Year in Sacramento.
Yeah.
We totally know her, right? She's so badass. I love seeing that. So really excited about that. So what are you working on next? I mean, what's on the drawing board as far as experimentation? Is it the breakfast idea you were talking about? What else you got going?
I'm scared to say it.
all afternoon, no?
Okay, so my ultimate goal, what I really want to make, almond croissants. That's it. That's
your pinnacle right there. I'm still trying to get a decent loaf of whole wheat sourdough, but I think it's a little dead and hit it from the cemetery.
So that's what I'm working on. I'm working on a croissant line, laminated dough.
I love it. I got to do a laminated dough quarantine kitchen class one of these days. I just think the concept of laminated doughs, if you folks don't know what we're talking about, laminated doughs, we're talking about croissant doughs, puff pastry dough, Danish dough, where you have layers of dough and butter in between. And just the concept is simple, but it's so cool. That's how you get the puff out of it. The butter has water in it. The water's trapped. It turns to steam when it gets hot. It can't help but go up. Really cool stuff, and I love that. So are you, well, you've been doing this stuff for years, I imagine. You know how to make an almond croissant, right?
Well, I know how to make yes, I know how to make all the filling vegan, and I've made one vegan cornetti, which is an Italian style. But I have not made a vegan croissant. I actually have my dough in my fridge right now.
Interesting. Are you just using the vegan butter?
I am.
And is there a little water content to it?
There is.
It's gonna work.
So, I did on my Instagram. I did do the vegan cornetti, which got some pretty nice layers.
Okay.
So that gave me some good faith. I think moderate.
Can you describe a cornetti a little more for the fine viewers out there?
So a cornetti is it's similar to a croissant, but it's Italian. They tend to use egg in their dough, which a French croissant does not have egg in their dough. And then they also do more of like butter blocks when they're incorporating their butter instead of a big block that they fold in. So they fold it in the same way, but they use little cubes of butter instead.
Oh, okay. All right.
So it's kind of like a puff pastry croissant method.
It's like a Blitz puff almost.
Oh, totally like puff, actually.
Yeah, actually, hey.
Yeah,
I'm not a total, there was a time in my life, most people think I'm like a
Sorry, wind picked up.
Wind picked up. You looked actually glorious with your hair in the breeze. It almost looked like a romance with both of you, romance novel cover.
I'm glad it's going the right way. Can you imagine?
Over there. Awesome. All right. Let's see who else we got out there. Scott. Okay, still the same old guys. Oh, Adrian Murgison is waiting for these almond croissants now. Okay. So do you see anybody else out there that you know of that are doing cool during COVID, during all of this? I mean, who else is out there? That's what I'm always looking at.
Well, I'm really involved in the vegan community, so I'm kind of checking, that's where my world has been, but there's definitely some pretty badass things happening.
If I could say, I've been involved with Alchemist Micro Enterprise Academy or whatever, and many of the students that go through there, they're the home food operators, right? Many of the students there are vegan operations. Yeah.
Wow, that's awesome.
I just did a big cooking basics class. Well, when COVID started.
Yeah, it's pretty awesome. There's like we actually sell our products at a place called Pure Soul Plant-Based Eats, and they do burgers and chicken sandwiches, all vegan though. So cool places like that. There's some soul places coming up, vegan soul places, which I'm really excited about. Really great people, honestly. I think the best thing about being vegan is the community. They have been incredible. They're super supportive of each other and just joyful people, man.
I think, there's an ethic to them, right? There a lot of them are in it for ethical reasons, and they're ethical people, and they look for the best in the world. They're those kinds of. Not everyone is bad, right? I think, and if I may say, I think most people are good on a. I think it's the bad ones are a minority.
Yeah, I'm always optimistic, even when it kicks me in the pants. I tend to go and believe the best.
Yeah.
It doesn't always work, but
All right. Have you two had enough? I usually get into it about 4 minutes or so. Anything else you want to kind of shout out? Any about the community or any people or say hi to your mom?
Well, maybe to your mom.
Hi, Mom. Hi, Dad.
Yeah.
Hi, Carrie. Hi, Miles. I had a big family, but
I got like zero. I got very little family. Hi, sister.
Oh, I like your royal. Awesome.
That's all I.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, if you are interested in some delightful vegan bakeries, you need to get in touch with MudPieStand. Check them out on Instagram, and that's how I usually find them, right? And they have a website. What's your website again, guys?
MudPieStand.com.
Oh my gosh, how easy is that? Well, just go there instead, right? Phone in an order and get something to pick yourself up in the afternoon. Cupcakes or pie or whatever it is. They're cranking out some really cool hippie-dippy looking stuff is what I call it. I love it. It's totally what I love, right? American bacon, right? I don't know that food European stuff, right?
Right.
Anyway, get yourselves out there, folks, and also don't forget to get over to Industry Cooking Classes. Check out some of my videos. I got tons of these between the two stoves. I have tons of cooking videos and quarantine kitchen happy hours, and it's a lot of fun. It's keeping me sane, and it's keeping me off the streets. Deanya, Sal, thanks so much for stopping in.
Thank you, Dave. You're the best.
I love you guys. Awesome. I love what you're doing. And don't get a flat tire in your driveway.
Hey, no.
Hey, now, for those of you that are watching, don't forget the party is always in the kitchen, and we will see you next Monday at Quarantine Kitchen Happy Hour, 4 o'clock on Facebook Live. Thanks a lot for showing up. Thanks, ladies, and we will get this party to an end. Bye, guys.
Bye.
Bye.